Greetings everyone and welcome back to Rimworld and to the Darkworld series. Thank you so much for all of the comments on the last episode and of course for your patience. I know it's been a few days since the last episode, but for those who are wondering, Ares is doing though he's incredibly rambunctious. It seems that the worst of the effect of his lethargy has completely worn off at this point, and he just wants to climb and jump and run everywhere, which is basically making me worry all the time because as much as he wants to, I don't think his stitches are yet ready for him to run and climb and jump everywhere. Nevertheless, we are back. Now, the very first thing that we're going to do in this episode is we're going to rename our Grizzly Bear. Let's go to you. Let's pause it there. Can we rename you Grizzly Bear? I believe we should be able to. Should we not? Is it under training? There we go. I think. Yes, there we are. Grizzly Bear 1. Now, we had so many suggestions. Thank you, all of you. But ultimately, we're going to be going with a suggestion from KD8LVT that really did actually catch my fancy. We're going to be naming this bear Trinket. And if you're not sure why, how do I say this politely? You need to stop living under a rock, basically. Even if you don't like roleplay, even if you don't watch Twitch, this is getting to the sort of level of pop culture to just passively absorb this information. No, I'm joking. I'm sure there's lots of people who won't get the reference. Nevertheless, this is a well-loved sort of NPC. It's an animal companion from Critical Role. So we're going to be going with Trinket there. How lovely. Right. We have also received a lot of comments on the dromedaries. Now, based on the comments, weaving this into the story, obviously, Buttercup would not be in favour of killing off the dromedaries. Buttercup would never be in favour of killing them off, even if it was essential, much as Erin and Redwarp and to a certain degree Rocket kind of feel like, well, we don't really want to be supporting them. We're having to cook meals for them just to keep them going. This seems really out of sorts considering we ourselves aren't eating meals. But Buttercup really doesn't like the idea of killing any of her animal friends. And Leif, whose heart, as his backstory describes, is probably at least equal in terms of who gets to sit in the driver's seat over his actions as his brain. Leif, I don't think he would be all aboard the let's kill the dromedaries for meat, especially when we've got a freezer full of meat. And his newly wed wife, I feel that Leif wouldn't, although he perhaps doesn't have as much of a horse in the race as Buttercup, he'd side with Buttercup. And given that, I think this would make, against her better judgment, Erin would decide that this would make a fitting wedding gift. She wasn't able to give the newlyweds a real gift, so this will do. I think this will be considered the gift, but there will be a very strong caveat, and that is we can keep the dromedaries as long as we can get the geothermal up and start producing food for them within the next few days. If we can't, then first we're going to kill one, and then if it still takes too long, the other will be going soon after. She hasn't given a hard and fast number of days, but Buttercup and Leif are very much aware that their top priority needs to be getting this geothermal up and hydroponics going. Leif, of course, very skilled with hydroponics. He was an apprentice on back before the darkness, back before they went to sleep 400 years ago. So he will take over, making sure the plants are fine and we get a good harvest. And Buttercup is just going to have to do her best to mine the metals needed and help Rocket assemble all of the components needed to get the geotherm up and running. But we've got an item stash quest. Red, the chief of the Green Cave people, has informed us of a collection of valuable items worth 1,200 rimbucks, not far from us. The collection consists of an orbital bombardment targeter. Wow. Unfortunately, it won't last. Others will take the items in 13 days if we don't. Beware, the valuables tend to attract danger. Red says there is a group of 3 man-hunting Arctic foxes wandering nearby. An orbital bombardment targeter is an ancient targeting apparatus for an orbital bombardment system. This unit designates a target and transmits the coordinates to a network of satellites, which then bombard the target area with kinetic impactors. This unit has been reprogrammed to accept unauthorized users. But once it is used, the network will detect the incursion and cut off the link permanently. We don't know how this weapon came to pass. Of course, the group here know of the satellites. They weren't quite built as weapons. These were delivery systems for orbiting traders. Think mass drivers who would drop the cargo at designated sites. But it seems that someone had a rather malign idea to set this up as a makeshift weapon, delivering high-speed lumps of metal or whatever Detrius, the satellites have managed to acquire, to undesignated targets that haven't got the capacity to slow down the incoming delivery. That's not actually that far away. Would we want to go for it, though? It would take us 4.59 days. It would take 2 or 3 people to go over there. Arctic foxes wouldn't be a difficult one for us. Certainly not. Likewise, getting over there, though. Have we got the food for it? We would need to make a decent amount of food. Realistically, I don't think we're going to be heading out anyway. No, I'm not even sure that these people would really want it, but there is a strong possibility they'd rather someone else not have it. Who else would be able to use it? Who even set these things up? Perhaps this is some sort of architect item. If these are single-use items, then and the tribes people know of them, then there must have been a lot of them made at some point. What terrible things went on in the past, back when the group's parents and guardians first woke up. What terrors did they find out outside of the facility? If these are some of the legacy of that time, it must have been particularly dire. Well, we'll have to think about this. Buttercup and Leaf, of course, are going to have their orders. They're going to be working primarily on getting the geotherm and the surrounding area prepped, ready for us to build everything we're going to need. Actually, let's quickly have a look. How far out is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's not quite good enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we do need at least something at these points to be able to support the roof. It's a shame, because I don't believe this itself supports the roof. So, yeah, we'll leave those supports in, I think, rather than anything else. Okay, Red Warp is getting some more blocks made. Good. We're going to need quite a few to get everything running. Buttercup is currently... What on earth just happened there? It seems that... Oh, another bear just decided to kill a lynx who had just killed a rat. There's always a bigger fish. Lynx, always a bigger fish. We have got quite a lot of dangerous wildlife out there, though, and that's a little bit of a concern, I'll be perfectly honest. But the group are going to get to work trying to get this up and running. It is currently the 15th of October, 10 a.m., and I will bring you back when there's something to report. Oh no, we've got an animal disease. Flu. Rocket just finished the final part in expanding out the protective wall around the geothermal, which is great. But one of our animals has become sick with the flu. Make sure they get proper treatment and rest as much as possible. The following animals have gotten sick. Dromedary 1. Well, this is rather awful news. Okay, well, let's have a look at you. Flu minor. We have no medicine for this. As much as Buttercup would plead for the use of the medicine, we cannot afford to use medicine on the dromedary. And without medicine, I can't imagine it's going to survive. It's already got 1.9% of that. Its immunity is going up. Perhaps a tiny bit of medicine would be all that would be needed. It's a difficult one, to be certain. Let's go ahead and expand this little area out a little bit more. Let's just draw that back. We'll pop in a little bit of room in there. Leaf, could you prioritize mining in here? Where is Rocket right now? Rocket is currently constructing the geotherm. Okay, Rocket, you continue on then. Leaf, we're going to have to try and move this out. Get this dug back to make some room for the dromedary. We will set up an animal sleeping spot. There we go. One for each of the dromedaries. In fact, you know what? Let's just cancel these. Let's cancel that completely. Got enough space. Get these moved out. There we are. Leaf. The dromedary will go and rest. We will allow it to be treated once, and once only. Let's have a look at the flu. It's currently up to 3.9, but the immunity is higher. It might make it. It might. Erin. I can't imagine that Buttercup would... Oh, thank goodness. Erin woke up. I was going to say, I can't imagine that Buttercup would let Erin sleep when the dromedary clearly needs to be taken care of. Erin is treating the dromedary. Are you using the medicine? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Flu tended. Did we use some... We didn't use any of that. That's interesting. Perhaps you can just take care of it then. Well, if all it needs is just regular care, then we'll try. It's not going to be a very good... Well, but it is gaining immunity very slightly faster than the flu is gaining strength. I'm going to allow it to be treated at least once with actual medicine, though. That should, I hope, allow the dromedary to pull decently ahead of the infection. It is going to be rough. There's no two ways about it. This is going to be a bad time. But we do have the geothermal generator up and running. Now, this will produce enormous amounts of power. For the time being, well, we probably should get that hooked up to the rest of the base as a matter of some priority. Let's also get this out of the way and we'll continue building out these walls where we can. Same down here. We don't need to take out quite as much. We just need to pull it back that far. Now, I'm happy for this heat to be spread to this area. That's fine. We want to ensure that we're replacing these walls where we can with actual blocks for now. How's the dromedary doing? Let's have a look. How's this chat going? Alton chatted with Buttercup about other colonists. Okay, so asking about the other colonists. Buttercup expressed interest in Alton's ears. Buttercup promised growth to Alton. And that's a joke. Perhaps Alton has got unusually small ears and is a little bit sensitive about them. Buttercup promising that they know of ancient remedies, ointments and unguents that can be applied to the ears to help them grow. Buttercup, stop fibbing. You're a body purist, so I know that you... No, actually, you're a transhumanist. Well, maybe Buttercup is saying, well, with our technology, we could make you better ears. We've got a double eclipse. How marvelous. I imagine that's actually quite beautiful. You know, the dark star, and just a moon just moving in front of it. How you'd even detect it, I guess you wouldn't. I'm not sure. Given that the star is dark at the moment, how would you even tell? Perhaps it's some sort of... Maybe it's all a figment of their imagination. They believe they can see some sort of shadow where the star is meant to be. They know where to look, if nothing else. But yeah, that's a bit of an odd one, to say the very, very least. Okay, well, we're going to want to get down some power. Going to want subsurface conduits out to about here. Let's go ahead. Oh, actually, we can run it along the wall, in fact, and that would help out a little bit in terms of mitigating some of the potential damage that this could do. If an explosion happens in a wall, it has to radiate out through the wall. So it has to be quite a powerful explosion to be able to damage the wall itself and then do damage to anything else beyond it. Let's have a look at you. You can be treated in the not-too-distant future. 1.6 days, and the tending that you've already had will expire by then. You are pulling reasonably ahead of the infection. You're doing very, very well. Your breathing is weakened, unfortunately, but your blood filtration must be amazing. No, it's just 100%. Perhaps dromedaries are uncommonly capable when it comes to resisting the effect of the flu and the like. Now, one of the things that we're going to be setting up in here, let's find where's the lighting, possibly under furniture. If we add in a wall light, we won't actually be making much of a loss in terms of the potential areas that we can apply this lighting to. Now, I'm not entirely certain how much these wall lights draw in power. Let's have a look. Power consumption 600 watts versus a sun lamp which consumes 2,900. Now, the sun lamp, if we have a comparison of the area, because that can sound like, oh my lord, that's really broken. But if we were just to pop this down here, the sun lamp, let's pause it there. If I pop that down, then we've got how many tiles? 5 on either side, or rather on all sides. Whereas the lighting from the plant-growing wall light is a much smaller light. Though, interestingly, it does go all the way around. It doesn't only go in one direction, so we could have it on a pillar. Only one less. Ah, no, it does favor one side over the other. It isn't like the sun lamp going all the way around. So there is a reasonable amount less tiles with this one. Whether that comes out to the right amount, it's hard to say, really. But would we then have a better job of having them reflecting off these tiles here? Possibly. At the very least, we would get a good bit of light expanding out in these directions. We'd fully fill this area. We might even be able to expand the walls out a little bit further to make better use of them, and perhaps have one lamp on each wall to fill out the remainder. Something along those lines maybe would work well for us. I can build it on the geotherm itself. Wow. Okay, well, that's actually quite interesting. If I had one in the middle, or just to the side perhaps, on each wall, it would cover quite an area. That one doesn't need it because we can't expand out in that direction. But I'm going to allow our colonists to get a little bit more of the work done before we start laying down the lighting. But that is a very, very interesting one. Very interesting indeed. Once we've got this corridor properly built out and sealed off, then we'll start seeing how many roofs we can do without for the sake of growing trees, because we are going to need that. Eventually, we'll have exposed too much to the outside, and we will lose all of the heat that the geotherm is outputting. But up to a certain amount, the geotherm will be able to output more heat than we can lose through single roof tiles that are missing. So we would be able to grow trees under those specific roof tiles. I'll have to see. I will bring you back when Leaf has had time to properly explore the options, and Rocket has signed off on the removal of the roof so as not to introduce too much structural, too much damage to the structural integrity of the greenhouse, as it were. We have also detected a cluster of pods landing nearby. Wow, a bunch of berries. That's actually very, very nice. We should bring those in as soon as we can. But I shall bring you back once we've got a plan. Right, well, with all of our lamps currently active, as you can see, we have got a fair bit of growing room in here. We have a little bit of an extra lamp down here just to cover this little bit of area, though honestly, these ones may be unnecessary. We'll have to consider this one, because this is an awful lot of power just for a very, very minor bit of extra growth there. We've just got a little corridor that we can't grow in, and yet this is drawing 600 watts. At present, all of these lamps together drain the entire capacity of our geotherm. When they're active, they do shut off at night. Additionally, although there are 4 tiles currently unroofed, we are getting temperatures. They're not terrible. They're certainly not terrible, but we can sustain 4 unroofed tiles. Perhaps we could even sustain a few more than that. As you can see, the temperature is rising. Outside is currently -4, so on a particularly cold day, it would be even worse. We could double clad this so that there was less heat being bled out of the walls, and that is definitely something we may look into. But for the time being, we have got things set up. If I turn on roofs, there we go, we can see where we have some room for growing trees. So the first thing we're going to get going is we want 4 separate growing zones. So this one, what are we going to grow here? In terms of the trees, well, we've only got a couple that we can grow here. Pine seems especially fitting for the area, so we're going to pop pine in all of these. Now, there are better trees to plant for tree yield per day required to grow the tree, but for the time being, I think we're going to go with this. So this will be tree nursery 1, and we'll copy this because we're just going to be copying that over to all of them. I do like having all of my grow zones and stockpiles named, just so I can see at a glance if I'm looking through a list of storages and the likes where these things are. I can see over here that that is a thin rock roof, and that's overhead mounted. So all of this is thin. That's quite good, actually. Very good. This is overhead mounted. So in here, there is a potential in this area for us to have invasions or infestations from insects, which is kind of worrying, honestly. But we'll see how that goes. Over here, we can see that our dromedary is doing quite well. Its immunity is up to 69%, and the flu is only at 55%. Now, part of that is because we have pharmacist, which is what's preventing the use of these medicines. The disease immunity margin, disease minimum severity threshold, so on and so forth. This all combines to decide whether a disease is sufficiently dangerous to warrant treatment with what we would class that wound as. As you can see over here, pharmacist allows us to say, well, if you've just got a couple of minor wounds, like bruises and things that aren't really going to get worse, well, a colonist will get herbal meds, but no more than that, and anyone else won't even get anything at all. We'll just pat it down until the blood stops flowing. If it's a major wound, though, a colonist will get actual medicine, but anything else will get herbal meds. If it's a life-threatening wound, a colonist will be allowed Glitterworld meds, same for surgery, but anything else will only get regular medicine. Now, what the disease immunity margin and disease minimum severity threshold, as you can see, you can read through the text there. You can pause the video if you want to read over it. But the long and short of it is, based on how close the disease progression is to the immunity, whether the immunity is behind the disease progression or is only just ahead of it, that will change how that disease is viewed. It'll either be considered a wound or a life-threatening injury, and that will change what type of medicine the colonists are willing to use on it. But there we go, Leaf is installing the trees. This is absolutely wonderful. Now, these will grow when these lamps come on, and it should be plenty warm in here for them to grow. That is absolutely wonderful. Now, what else are we going to grow? We can grow pretty much on every tile in this place. And one of the first things I think we need, and what we're going to get over here, is some heal root. Okay. We'll just call it heal root. Now, the lovely thing with heal root is heal root actually produces a little bit of light. Now, we've got a mod that means the heal root will gently glow. It won't be enough to grow anything nearby, I don't think. If it does end up being the case, we could perhaps just have 4 little, like a ring of heal root around each tree to help it grow. That would be rather lovely, in my opinion. Now, as for, well, heal root is a good cash crop, frankly, but let's not worry too much about that. Over here, we're going to have textiles, fiber plants, and for the time being, we'll just grow cotton. There we go. Let's get some cotton going. Over here, then, we want... Since we're not using hydroponics, we don't need to worry too much about what we're going for here. We'll just grow this out and expand the zones as needed. Potatoes or rice? Honestly, rice would benefit more from a high fertility. Let's have a look here. Rice is a crop that I would generally recommend for hydroponics, though there is some debate on whether potatoes, if you crunch the numbers, whether potatoes do end up being slightly better. The general consensus is rice is better, but there has been a bit of a shift in that recently. That said, I think, honest to goodness, potato should be good enough there. And over on this side, for our herbivores, we will go for something a little bit easier. Well, I mean, potatoes would probably benefit a bit better from the lack of fertility there. Potatoes don't really care, but we'll actually go for hay grass over here. Maybe I will change things up down here as a result. Animal feed, this one will be. There we are. Oh, we've already got that elsewhere. Fodder, we'll call it then. There we go. Actually, yes, let's shrink this zone. I want a couple of little bits and bobs over here if we can get it. There we go. Let's get... This one will obviously be food crops. Since we're not using hydroponics, we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with the different types of things we're growing. Here we will go for... Let's see. Get hops, make some drinks. Smoke leaf or psychoid plants. Now, psychoid has a lot of use. You can trade psychoid very easily, but we can make a couple of nice things with it. Specifically, psychoid tea to calm the nerves, and that is definitely, I feel like, as far as Erin and Rocket and Redwarp, perhaps even Buttercup are concerned, this is definitely a necessary crop. 100%. As far as Leaf is concerned, it has been far, far too long since he has enjoyed the sweet, tender comforts of the reason why he's got his nickname as it is. Leaf needs some smoke leaf. And Leaf is not above telling little white lies to people in order to get it. Joy and bliss. No one else is knowing what he's named these. He's just got little signs. They don't come in here. This is Leaf's garden. No one else bothers with it. Leaf can do what he wants in there. It's the only place he feels at home. Well, actually, no, that's not quite true. And I'm sure Buttercup wouldn't mind. Right, okay, so with that and the heat, a comfortable 10 degrees, do we really need to double clad this? I'm leaning in favor of doing so. So let's get some cladding around the outside just to help retain as much heat as we can. There we go. We can't, unfortunately, get all of it, but we can get a good bit of it. And that should help retain even more heat. Whether we really do need all of this room, that is a reasonable question, because really I'm using all of this power to double up a lot of the work that we're doing over there. I'm going to think about this one. Right now we don't actually need much power over here, so we can get away with it. So I think I'm going to let it sit as is for the time being. What I do need is some more granite. Are there any conveniently? Yes, we can source some granite chunks over here. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's get those in, because we are out of materials right now, and unfortunately this leather is still outside and it's about to just completely decompose. I'm so sorry. Lots of people actually expressed concern over that in the comments, and I promptly forgot. Blame Aavak. Right, how's dromedary's flu going? It's coming along really well. The dromedary will be saved, and not through the use of medicine. Well, there we go. Erin's first thought of, well, that's the end of it. No. Buttercup wasn't going to have any of that. Buttercup has saved that dromedary's life twice now. So that means we're actually going to need some names. We're going to need names for our pets. We have got a lot of leather. Hopefully we can get that through. You're feeding the I mean, you can, actually. Technically, I suppose you could allow the dromedary to pass out from hunger and then feed it nutrient paste. But that... No, I don't think... Buttercup would not allow that to happen. Not while you have the means to keep it comfortable. But yes, as we can see, the outside drop in temperatures is causing a significant drop in temperature in here as well. But as long as the doors aren't opened frequently, then that's not so much of a problem. In fact, toward that end, we're going to clear a little bit of the outdoor animal zone. I would rather that Trinket not be allowed in here for no other reason than it's letting a lot of heat out needlessly. Leaf is taking care of so many things. Well done, Leaf. Look at that. Marvelous. Ah, glorious. And obviously, you know, taking care of Bliss before the potatoes, and then Joy before the finishing the potatoes. Ah, good old reliable Leaf. Well done, Leaf. Right, okay, so we're not going to have to worry about hydroponics just yet, and we can further expand this area if we want to. There's certainly potential for that. We could draw this out quite a lot, in fact. And we probably are going to do that. But for now, we're just going to let things sit for the time being. And should we do that, we might actually even cut back on these lamps and allow a little bit of extra battery power to be stored for the future. We'll see how that goes, but the main task has been achieved. We do have hydroponics all set up, and have we brought in all the Panthera fur? No, not yet. Hopefully we can get the rest of that in, though. We've got some Panthera fur in there. There we go. Well done. Let's not waste the fur. With the fur, interesting. Have we got any dromedary wool yet? I don't see any. I believe it actually looks different. It does have its own icon. Let's have a look at you. How are you doing? Up to 99% immunity. The flu only got to 77% severity. Well done. Very well done. You can continue eating... we'll use the berries as necessary. Can we do anything with the Panthera fur, I wonder? Can we make some better toques? Let's have a look. Can we pause that there? Let me just pause it for a moment. No, we need camel hair. We can make them out of camel hair, which is actually very, very nice. And we can also make them out of cloth. It's not particularly useful, though. I'll be honest. You wouldn't want to. So that's fine for the time being. We've got parkas as well. We can make that out of, well, a lot of things. Probably the Panthera fur in here can be used for it. We've got a lot of it, to be fair. Is there anything else we particularly want to look into? Maybe some dusters. We've got a couple of things that we could make, at the very least. But mostly we want to focus on cold weather clothing. And with that, we're probably going to let the temperature start to drop in the belly of the colony, just to avoid the situation that will arise with potential insect infestations. If we can let the colony cool a bit, then that will ultimately help us. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good job, everyone. With that, I think that we're going to give the colony a little bit of a break. We're going to allow. Can you get out there? Can you cross this water? It's deep water. I'm not even sure you can. You might not be able to reach it. Bulk goods trader from the Green Moose Tsoro. Okay. Well, this is interesting. It seems that some of the others are not warlike at all, although we have received quests. I mean, receiving a request for aid is very different from just not coming over here and attacking us. Oh, damn it, we've got an explosion. We've just lost all of our battery power, and that is running low. Oh, that's wretched. Okay, Rocket, I'm going to need you to prioritize extinguishing these fires, whatever else you're doing right now. Oh, you're very, very far away. Everyone else has gone up. Okay, good. Okay, well, at the very least, if you could please repair. We drained both the batteries. Thankfully, the power is returning reasonably fast. Okay, yes, the wind turbine is at full power now. Okay, that's pretty good. Right, where are the traders? Oh, they're quite far away. That's a bit unfortunate. Could we perhaps get them to come a little bit closer? We may be able to get a trading spot. Yes, trading spot. If we pop it over there, then in the future... Oh, no, they're making their way over there. That's glorious, because it's so much closer then for us to haul things in. That would be much, much easier for us. Okay, what's the temperature in here? It's not great, but it's okay. Growth rate is at 81%, non-ideal temperature. That's all right. I mean, it's reasonably high. This should be enough. The main thing is that the lighting is not going to cause them to break down. That is the main thing there. As long as we can get everything else in there sorted, then as long as we can keep the light going. Now, who are we going to send out to conduct this trade? It's an important trade. As much as, I mean, under the guidance of Erin, as much as Erin, I feel that she'd be battling a little bit with her want to control the situation, but I imagine Leaf would have a word with his big sister and just think, you've got to let it go. You're not the best person for this. You're the warrior that they perhaps fear, but you're not the face of reason. You're not the one that they have heard of, that tends to them, that has spent the most time learning of their ways. Erin has popped in there now and again to talk with Alton, but it's generally more of an interrogation than a conversation, whereas Buttercup has learned more and more about the others and feels confident that she'd be able to conduct trade. So Buttercup is going to go and speak with them, but imagine Erin is kind of hanging nearby, just on tenterhooks, really, wanting to know what's going on, wanting to intervene, wanting to have a word. But she's just going to have to let go of this one and let Buttercup do the talking. Hopefully Buttercup won't be inclined to give them too good of a deal. We shall see. If in fact we have anything that they want. Okay. As much as Erin at moments has been chewing on her tongue not to step in, Buttercup has made her decision. Whether the rest of the colony agrees with this decision or not remains to be seen. But one choice that Buttercup has made, we'll start with the good, is that she has chosen to buy some flak pants. This will enable some of our colonists, or rather one of our colonists, to have a little bit of extra protection with very little negative compared to what they're currently wearing. The flak jacket was also very tempting, but at a much higher cost, and also you'd have to exchange the parka for it. Buttercup chose the flak pants instead. We are also purchasing all of the wood that the trader has to sell us, and the majority, all but one, of the herbal medicines. Right now, we seem to be doing okay. We have had to trade pretty much all of the leather that we have in order to get this, but with game not being in short supply here in the Wailing Woods, what's left of the woods part of it, the 4 trees, the Wailing trees, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've also sold the insect jelly because there is quite a reasonable price for that, and all of the milk, likewise, a very reasonable price on the milk. If nothing else, that milk is seen as a bit of a delicacy. We have not purchased any food. We are selling all of the insect meat. Buttercup would rather not eat the insect meat, so is selling it. And now that we have hydroponics up and running, that shouldn't be a problem. Now, the point of contention, and something that I'm sure Erin is going to be grumbling about for several days, is seeing the opportunity to get a breeding pair for the dromedaries, or rather, enabling the dromedary to breed. Buttercup is buying a male. Now, the question there is whether this is going to be useful or not. Whilst this is a difficult choice for Erin to accept, Erin is contenting themselves with the fact that, yes, the dromedaries may be breeding, but that doesn't mean that we need to keep the offspring. The offspring may simply be another source of food. Whether that comes to pass or not, or perhaps we will trade the dromedaries away. Who knows? But we are going to need 3 dromedary names. Original 2 females and the 7-year-old male. I have no idea how long how long camels live for. Let's make sure you're in the animal pen. And let's have a quick look at you. How old do you get? What is your life expectancy? Life expectancy, 45. So, yeah, you'd probably still be young. Well, maybe coming into your adolescence, perhaps. But in any case, we're going to have to increase the amount of meals that we're making now. Go ahead and make sure that we've got 3 at all times. Well, this has been a bit of an interesting one. The traders should be happy with that trade, or at least I certainly hope they are. Can we bring all of this in, though, as something of a high priority? It doesn't look like we can get out there, and that's actually to our benefit. We will dig through. In fact, we no longer need to dig out there. We just need to get rid of this, and then we're going to smooth these walls. Rocket is going to get a decent room. Rocket deserves one. He's done quite a lot. Aaron chatted with Buttercut about the other colonists. Also, about her recent decisions with trading. No doubt. There was probably no shortage of passive aggression in that conversation. It was about other colonists, in air quotes, but mostly it was about Buttercup. It was about Buttercup and her choices. We are... No, that's... Why are we bringing Pemmican in? Have we just stolen Pemmican? No. It's one of the traders coming in and sitting down with Buttercup. Wanted to have a little bit more of a talk. Buttercup has clearly ingratiated herself with the others. Her knowledge of their customs and ways, perhaps when they set to the business of trading, Buttercup performed the correct gestures to show that they were trading in peace, something that the others didn't quite know. But Buttercup has learned from her long hours speaking with our captive. That seems to have come out. Buttercup approached Trinket while whispering to herself about pet peeves, mostly Erin. Yep. And then art movements. Yep. Erin, Buttercup, now come on. Buttercup is now family, Erin. And that being said, she's proving about as reliable as Leaf. I don't imagine that Erin has quite forgiven Leaf for getting her into this mess. Not that she strictly isn't in agreement with Leaf's motivations, but still. Right, we're going to be passing a little bit of time. Let the traders leave and also to haul all of these items in. I think we've done well for ourselves, though. I think the colony seems to be doing all right for now. Some sort of psychic wave has swept over the landscape. Your colonists are okay, but it seems many of the muffalos in the area have been driven insane. And that's a lot of muffalos. Oh dear, and there are traders outside. Well, that is an awkward time. A very awkward time. We need a new zone. Home needs to be expanded. We need to make sure that happens right now, so that people will, at the very least, repair the items in home. We don't really care about the internal ones, of course, but that is generally going to have to be the case there. There we go. That will do. Let's make sure all of that is protected. Alright, so we've got some mad muffalos on the way. Not exactly ideal, I'll be honest with you. Alton, let's have a look at you. Your resistance is down to 37.4. We're still feeding you. And in terms of your social, at this point, Kirsty is flat out your friend, as is Eric and Charles. You still only really know of Erin, but she has popped in. Again, it was more of an interrogation than anything else, but it seems that Kirsty is slowly becoming friends with Alton as well. Now that is uncommon. That doesn't usually happen, I don't think. Let's have a look. Why are you deep talks? Interesting. So usually it doesn't happen. Usually it's a very one-sided relationship. The prisoner will grow closer to the warden, but that won't be true of the warden growing closer to the prison, because it's very much the warden is just trying to convince them. Anything nice they say is perhaps not exactly true. But it seems that Buttercup and indeed Rocket are actually getting a little closer. Perhaps there's more to Alton than they first thought. That is interesting. I was considering releasing Alton, and perhaps Erin still would be, but given that Alton is starting to ingratiate themselves with Buttercup and Rocket, I think they would it would certainly resist the idea of just releasing Alton right now because there's a bunch of angry muffalos outside. That is not something that they would be willing to agree to. Right, I want you all to be restricted, and I am going to say no. Trinket, you can be outside. You're actually safe. The muffalos aren't going to attack Trinket, because Trinket is not a person. Is to Buttercup, obviously, and perhaps the rest of the colonists as well. But as far as the muffalos are considered, they don't smell quite enough of people yet for them to want to eat them. Right, Erin, going to need you to help out over here, please. Head on down. Rocket. I'm going to have to leave Rocket there. Rocket is way too low in mood for me to disturb his sleep as well. The traders will hopefully be able to handle the muffalo. And on the... Oh, wow, their own muffalo getting quite badly wounded. It seemed that enough of the other muffalo were asleep at the time that the psychic wave hit. Clearly the result of the Dark Star being particularly rambunctious at the moment. The skies, the aurora is past, but the dark energies being radiated from that star certainly have not, and affected the animals in an interesting way, let's say. But hopefully we can get these carcasses brought in, and hopefully the muffalo of the caravan don't bleed out. You're in no immediate danger. If it did bleed out, then that might be a problem for us. We do see that... Oh no, they've all tended to themselves. That's good. It's a shame that they're not also tending to their muffalo. That would be bad if their muffalo died in our colony. They would probably blame us for it, even though it's absolutely not our fault. But on the note about not needing to worry too much about all of the leather we traded, here's plenty more. But I think that's where we're going to be wrapping up today's episode. It's going to take a little while before Leaf is able to plant the heal root. We're going to need a skill of 8 for that. What is Leaf's skill currently? Leaf's skill is not far away, so Leaf is going to be able to do it sooner rather than later. But let me know in the comments whether you think this is realistically worth the investment. Right now we're not doing anything else with the power, so there's no reason not to have it there, just for the little bit of extra growth that we're going to be able to use with it. Oh, a gift from the Green Moose Toxoro. They've left us a gift. Cloth parka and a wooden war mask. It seems that Buttercup really made a good impression. Well done, Buttercup. That is fantastic. Trust in Buttercup. That is absolutely marvellous. They have been left with a very, very good impression of us. No doubt they are aware of the stories about our, let's say, archaic ways, being able to command the weapons of the ancients to terrible effect. But they have come to understand that whilst we may be dangerous, we are not unreasonable. Perhaps even some of them think we're likable. I think we've made a good first impression. I'm very, very pleased with that. Hopefully we can bring in their gift, and maybe even next time Buttercup can go out wearing the correct kind of mask. Though perhaps a war mask, not exactly what you'd want to wear to trade, but maybe during war, one of our colonists can put that on during the next raid. But that is going to be where we wrap up today's episode. I really do hope you have enjoyed. We have managed to get through quite a fair bit. We've managed to set up our geotherm. We've already got trees as well as other plants being grown, and it's not great temperature in this, certainly, but hopefully we can get that a little better with time. We might even go to the effort of adding in some heaters. If we did that, we would need to get rid of the lights over here, so that the generator would be able to just run the heater through the day and the night to keep everything growing okay, but at least we've got light in there. We've also increased the size of our dromedary herd. On that note, I'm going to have to expand this out a little bit just so we've got some extra sleeping spots in there. And we've conducted our first successful trade with the others. We've covered a lot of ground. I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope you have enjoyed it as well. So I will see you in the next one, hopefully, but until then, and as always, do take care, everyone, and let me know what names you think our dromedaries should have in the comments down below.